Hello guys, it's your boy Nattle. Today we're gonna make a new rogue video about Assassination in 7.1.5. There's been some minor changes, but I'm gonna go over them in this video. Also, if you'd like to check out my stream, I'll put the link in the description. I stream about 9 to 10 hours a day, so if you want rogue content, that's where you wanna go, guys. Alright, let's get to the video. Alright, so first off we're gonna go over the talents. I'll start with tier 1. We pick Elaborate Planning. That's a really good talent. It gives you 15% damage for however long you have it up. You obviously want to keep this up at all times, so you will use 2-point or 3-point envenoms to keep this up, or 4-point, whatever you have. Just to keep this up at all times, guys. There's been some talk about Master Poisoner being better at higher mastery levels, but I haven't seen that yet, so I can't tell you if it is. I don't think it will be, but we'll see what happens when we get better gear. Hemorrhage, obviously, so DPS loss. We used that in the beginning of the expansion, but now it's a DPS loss. So for the second tier we have Night Stalker. We picked this because it increases our boss DPS. There's been some talk about Subterfuge being better in Mythic Plus since you can garrote all the ads and stuff like that, but I really don't like it because you lose too much boss DPS. And since we're basically in a dungeon to DPS the boss, Assassination Rogues, so like we're not there to really kill the ads that much, we're more there to kill the bosses. So the Night Stalker is a really solid choice. For the third tier we have Deeper Stratagem. It gives us 6 coma points instead of 5, and it increases our damage by 10% when we do a 6 coma point move. So this is very nice for Rupture, 6 coma point Rupture and stuff like that. The other options aren't really viable at all. They're DPS loss, both of them. Then we have the next tier, which is the 60 tier, the fourth tier. It's basically our survivals. I used to play with Cheat Death a lot. Now I don't anymore because the feint, like elusiveness, is so good with feint because you can avoid so many things like Darkheart Thicket, the Nightmare Bolt. You don't get one-shotted by that if you have this. So that's why I really like this talent. For the fifth tier we have Thug E. Basically what that does is that your garrote cooldown is reset when the mob dies that has garrote on them. It's basically the only viable thing here because the other things are for damage from kidney shot, and we don't use kidney shot on bosses, so basically this is the only viable option. Sometimes in Mythic Plus I will use internal bleeding because of the extra bleed on like priority trash mobs, but most of the time I will use Thug E. Then for the next tier, the level 90 tier, the second to last tier, we have either Agonizing Poison or Exsanguinate. I made a very in-depth video on when to go Agonizing or when to go Exsanguinate. You can check that out on my channel, but basically it's based around 25k unbuffed agility. When you have 25k unbuffed agility, you will want to go Agonizing Poison. Otherwise you want to stick to Exsanguinate. Basically the opener is a little bit different, but nothing really changes that majorly. But you can have on shorter fights you want to have Exsanguinate because then you can do more burst damage. On longer fights you want Agonizing Poison. So it's some variables that come into play there, but check out my video and you'll know all about it. So for the last tier we pick Venom Rush. Basically what this does is it gives us more energy from the passive called Venomous Rush. No, not Venomous Rush, Venomous Wounds, sorry. Basically, this will give us energy each time our bleeds do damage to a poison target. And with Venom Rush we get more energy, so it's just basically a really strong talent. And it gives us more energy. We're still pretty energy starved, but this helps out a little bit. Alright, now I'm gonna go over the artifact path that I took. Basically, I've gone over this a million times, so I'm just gonna go over it pretty quickly here. So I picked King's Bane first, then Assassin's Blades, Toxic Blades, Urge to Kill, Master Assassin, Gushing Wound, Blood of the Assassinated. Then I go back to the top, I go to Poison Knives, Surge of Toxins, Serrated Edge from the Shadows. Then I go all the way to the left, I pick Master Alchemist, then Bag of Tricks. Then when I have all the 3 golden traits, I pick Balanced Blades, 3 points. Then after this, you will want to go. You will want to fill up your tree basically. So you have Shadow Swiftness 1 point, then Fade into the Shadows 3 points, and then you can do Shadow Walker 3 points. So you can do whatever in whatever order you want. I chose to do Cloak of the Shadows and Evasion first because I mean sprint cooldown doesn't really matter. I really like the Cloak of Shadows cooldown because Cloak of Shadows is really strong in Mythic Plus. Basically, that's it. So the reason I went from the Shadows first is because of my relics. So I have 3 Vendetta relics like everyone should have. I made a separate video about Vendetta relics, so check that out if you haven't. You can get 2 of them from Vault of the Wardens and 1 of them from Blackroot Cold. You can also get 1 from Nightbane like I have here. They make your Vendetta a 60-second cooldown instead of a 1.5 minute cooldown. That's a really strong thing to have. So basically that's why I picked From the Shadows first, because more Vendettas will mean more From the Shadows and will mean more damage overall. So that's why I suggest going From the Shadows first. Also, you get Surge of Toxins, which is a very overlooked trait. It gives you more poison damage and also agonizing poison damage. Then also Serrated Edge is really nice with the Rupture crit and everything. So I like this path a lot more than the other path. But you'll end up getting all of them in the end anyway pretty soon because of all the research right now, artifact knowledge. Alright, so now I'm gonna go over the stat priority. You want to have 43% unbuffed crit. Basically the reason for this is so that when you eat your food you get 44% crit, and with the trait that you have, the Balanced Blades in your assassination weapons, you will get 50% crit with Mutilate. That's really nice because then every Mutilate will most likely be a 3-pointer. Your opener won't be awkward. That's like the main reason we do it, because when we do our opener, right, like when we do our Vendetta, like after we pop Vendetta, if we get a 2-point, and then like two 2-pointers, it really fucks you up. If you get a 2-pointer and a 3-pointer, that's fine, because then you can Kingsbane to the 6th point. But like if you get a 2-point, like two 2-pointers in a row, basically, like two combo pointers, then like it will be very bad for you. Like the opener will be really bad. So that's why I like to have that crit cap, because that basically ensures that will not happen. It will happen sometimes, but not very often at all. So that's why I want that crit cap. So you want to be at 43% crit unbuffed, and then you go for Mastery, Versatility, and Haste. Mastery is a really strong stat. Right now it's basically better than crit, but you still want that crit cap. So like that crit soft cap, so that you can get those 3-point mutilates and not struggle so much in the opener. That's basically why you do it. And then Mastery obviously increases your agonizing poison damage, it's really nice. Then Versatility is also nice, it increases your damage. Then Haste isn't that good. I have a lot of Haste, but it's not my fault. Like my Legendary and my other set items and stuff like that give Haste, so it is what it is. Okay, I'm gonna go over some trinkets now. So basically we have the 6-feather fan, like everyone's talking about it. I have a really good one, I bought it for 500,000 gold, but it's not really worth it. Like at the current moment, 6-feather fan is 3k DPS better than 860 Eye of Command. So there's basically a very, very small difference. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't advise you to buy a 6-feather fan, because it's really a waste of gold at this point in the game. Because there are other trinkets that scale better with your gear. Like the better gear you get, the better the trinkets become. Like pure stat trinkets, like Ethereal Urn, and obviously the other trinkets as well, like Eye of Command, Memento, and stuff like that. But okay, so I don't advise you buying 6-feather fan. There are plenty of other good trinkets, like Ethereal Urn from Nightbane. It's really good. Agility, a lot of agility, and Mastery. Mastery is your best stat, so that's really good. Then we have Eye of Command from the last boss in Karasan. It's a really strong trinket. I don't use it right now because it's about the same as Ethereal Urn right now. 860 Eye of Command and 875 Ethereal Urn, they're about the same. The only reason I use the Ethereal Urn is because I have enough crit already, and it's like the Eye of Command resets when you switch targets and stuff, and I do a lot of Mythic Plus and stuff like that, so I prefer this trinket, to be honest. Then also I have Memento of Angerboda, Memento of Angerboda is a really good trinket. It drops from Maw of Souls. You can get a really high one and it becomes really strong. Also another thing about Eye of Command, you can get a chest from Nightbane that buffs Eye of Command by 30%. I'm working on getting it, but I haven't got it yet. Then there's the last trinket that I think is good, is the Bloodthirsty Instinct from Ursok. It basically increases your haste and agility, and well, it gives you a proc that increases your haste. It procs more often when the target is low health, so that is really good. So that's basically the good trinkets, like Bloodthirsty Instinct, Eye of Command, Ethereal Urn, Memento of Angerboda, and 6-feather fan, if you want to buy it, but I wouldn't advise on buying it. So that's basically the trinkets. I'll go over the stat priority one more time just for you guys. So 43% crit, which is the soft cap for crit. Then you want to go Mastery, Versatility, Haste. Obviously Agility is above all of this. Agility is our best stat, obviously it's insane. So we really want a lot of agility. You can even sacrifice a little bit of crit for agility, but then, as I told you, you're gonna struggle a bit in the opener sometimes, so it's gonna be really annoying for you to not have this crit soft cap. Alright guys, so now I'm gonna go over the opener. Basically it's the same opener for both Agonizing Poison and Exsanguinate, unless you are a Blood Elf. If you're a Blood Elf like me, there will be a different opener for Agonizing Poison. I'm gonna go over it after this. So basically I'm Exsanguinate now. It's the same opener for both Exsanguinate and Agonizing Poison. Basically what you wanna do is you wanna Garrote into Mutilate, into Rupture, into Vendetta, Mutilate, Mutilate, Banish, Rupture, Exsanguinate and Kingsbane, and yeah, if you don't have Exsanguinate, you obviously use Kingsbane right away, and there we go. That's the opener. You can get pretty good openers with this, but I'm gonna show you something even better with Agonizing Poison right after this. But basically, the reason we want to have a Rupture before we use our Vanish Rupture is so the effect from Vanish Rupture from the Night Stalker, like the Empowered Rupture, is gonna be longer. Because if you add on top a Rupture onto an already existing Rupture, you get the 36-second one. If you don't do that, you will get the 28-second one. So you get quite a few seconds from that. Like it's pretty nice. Like you get a really long Rupture that way. It's very nice. All right, so now we're gonna go over the Agonizing Poison opener if you're a Blood Elf. Basically, what changes is that we're gonna use a Envenom pretty early on in the opener. That is to build stacks. We want as many stacks as we can get from Agonizing Poison up on the target as soon as possible. This can result in some pretty crazy bursts if you're a little lucky. So basically I'll explain to you the opener. We use Garrote from Stealth, obviously. Then we use 1 point Rupture for the extra energy. Then we use Arcane Torrent, because we want the 15 energy that gives. Otherwise you won't be able to do it. That's why you need to be a Blood Elf. Then you Mutilate, you Envenom, Vendetta, Mutilate, Mutilate, Vanish, Rupture, Kingsbane. And by then, most of the time you have 5 stacks by then. So that will increase your burst by quite a bit. So let's try it out. I'll write both of these rotations, by the way, after the segment, and then you can read them in text as well, if you don't catch what I'm saying. Alright, so we're gonna do Garrote, Rupture, Arcane Torrent, Mutilate, Envenom, Vendetta, Mutilate, Mutilate, Vanish, Rupture, Kingsbane, and there's the opener. It's actually a pretty good opener. Like it's because you get 5 stacks with it, so you can get some pretty sick openers if you're a little lucky with RNG. Alright, so I've shown you the openers now. I'm gonna go into the rotation. So basically, what we want to think about here is that we keep elaborate planning up at all times. If this means you have to do a 2-point Envenom, you do that, man. You just have to keep up the elaborate planning all the time. So we have we're gonna go over the passives now. So we have Venomous Wounds, which gives us energy each time our bleed ticks on a poison target, so that's all the time basically. This gives us a lot of energy. We're still energy starved, but this helps out a little bit. Then we have Venom Rush, we spec into this, obviously we get more energy out of Venomous Wounds. Then we have Seal Fate, gives us extra combo points when we crit. That's why we want the crit cap of 43%. Unbuffed. Alright, so I'll go through the rotation a little bit here. I'll start with the Agonizing Poison one for Blood Elves, because that's what I am a Blood Elf, so I'll start with that rotation. So we'll go Garrote, Rupture, Arcane Torrent, Mutilate, Envenom, Vendetta, Mutilate, Mutilate, Vanish, Rupture, Kingsbane. And then I will sometimes do a 6-point opener, or like a 6-point Envenom there in the opener, if I feel I have the energy. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. It really depends on how lucky I get with procs and stuff like that. So this is basically what you do. You just want to keep Envenom up at all times. You just can keep elaborate planning up at all times. Here I let it drop off because I'm refreshing my Rupture. You don't want to get any downtime on Rupture, so sometimes you will have to sit there and wait a little bit to refresh the Rupture, but that's okay. Like, you don't want Rupture to drop off, because if Rupture drops off, that's a huge DPS loss. Even like 2 seconds, it's a huge DPS loss. So you don't want that to happen at all. So basically this is just what you do. You just keep elaborate planning up the whole time. You wait for Vendetta to come off cooldown again. Here we're gonna refresh our Rupture. And then we have Vendetta coming off cooldown. So we use Kingsbane, Envenom. basically the thing with Kingsbane is that people think you need to have like a surge of toxins or whatever before you use it, but that's not true. You want to have that by the end, right? Because the end is the biggest damage. Like, because the damage scales up by, like, in the start the damage from Kingsbane is pretty low, but in the end it's pretty high. So it's like we want to buff it in the end where it's really high already. And that's what we want to do. I try to avoid 5-point ruptures. I know some people do 5-point ruptures, but I try to avoid them. I don't like it, to be honest. I feel like it's a DPS loss when you just rupture a target for 5 points and it's less damage, and you, like I don't feel it's worth it. So I always try to do 6-pointers unless there's a chance of rupture dropping off. Like if the rupture is dropping off, then I will use the 5-point. I'm not gonna lose out on rupture uptime just because I don't want a 6-point. So basically that's the rotation. It's not that difficult. It's just you just gotta keep elaborate planning up all the time. So here we get another vanish rupture. Obviously the DPS meter bugs when you vanish rupture on a raider dummy most of the time. So yeah. But that's basically the opener, guys. We just want to keep elaborate planning up all the time. It's a really pretty easy spec to do, to be honest. It's pretty easy. Just keep elaborate planning up. Use your Vendetta on cooldown. Oh yeah, I can talk about potions as well while we're at it. I use Old War twice on a fight. So I will use Old War on like pre-pot Old War, and then I will try to time Old War for when the boss is about to die. Like I will use it so I have the entire duration before he dies. So let's say on like 30% or something. I will try to line it up with a Vendetta or Vanish, Rupture Vendetta. It depends how long the boss fight is by the end. Because if you get that big spike in the end, it spikes up your damage a little bit, and that makes you look better on the DPS meter. And that's what we're after. Like we want to do a lot of DPS. So that's how you accomplish that. Also, if they use Bloodlust later in the fight, you will still pre-pot Old War, and then you will use Old War again when you Bloodlust later in the fight. So that's basically the rotation, guys. As I said, I'm gonna put text now on the screen that explains the rotation, so you'll know. Alright guys, that's everything for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and that you learned some new things. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to put them in the comments, or even better, swing by my stream and ask them. I always read chat on my stream. I don't really have time to answer all the YouTube comments, so if you really want an answer to your question, go over to my stream and check it out. I stream about 9 to 10 hours a day, so you will probably be able to catch me. But yeah, thank you for all the support, guys. I really appreciate it. We're about to hit 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is crazy, dude. Like, I didn't even know that like it would go so well, you know? I'm really happy about that. So thanks for all the support, guys, and I'll see you on my stream or in the next video. Take care, guys.